Well, hello and welcome.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How's your day going?
You know what? Today's a good day. You and I were talking before the show, a little bit of back pain, but today's a good day.
This getting old thing is super fun. Super fun. I wanted to ask you something really quickly, not to have a big conversation about it, but I was curious because we had this conversation. What
Yeah.
is the deal with the Senate or the Congress trying to stop college athletes from making any money now through endorsements? And they want them to become employees of the school and not make that extra money.
That's ridiculous. So name, image, likeness is what athletes have fought for forever, and they finally have it. Okay, so
Yeah,
the
well, they're trying to take
quarterback.
it away.
Well, it's not fair when you look at it, right? Like let's
No.
say I had a product and I put your face and name on it, Nicole, and you're going, wait a second, that's my face and name. It's the only thing I own. What do you mean you're making money off of me and not giving me any money? And so
Listen,
the
this happens
argument,
all the time.
oh,
This
it's happened to me too.
unfortunately, this happens all the time. But I know all that. I understand, like, why it's fair. I understand why they get it, but them now today filing to try to take that away and stop that, how likely do you think that is to happen?
I don't think it's likely at all. I mean, again, what do you own if you don't own your face and your name? And
Yeah,
so
well, the colleges are trying to say that they own the athletes until, until they graduate.
well, I'll give you just one quick example. There was a basketball player in the '90s who played for Duke University, and Duke went to the Final Four 4 years in a row. The athlete's name was Christian Laettner. Well, they made over $400 million off of him in those 4 years. He received zero. Nothing. And they sold his jerseys. He was on TV like crazy. He was the reason they were on TV. He made nothing. So the quarterback of USC right now is a guy named Caleb Williams, who has made a ton of money, who says, I might not go pro next year because I make more money playing college than I do in the NFL. And so I'm
Yeah.
going to not only, he came out yesterday and said, not only do I want to choose what team do I go to, which you can't, but I also want whoever drafts me to give me partial ownership of the team. That's never, ever been done before.
Listen,
Just
welcome to
to have the nerve.
2023. Yeah, things are
Yeah.
changing, and the power of social media and the internet is quite large. So it'll be interesting to watch this and see like how this
Of
pans
course.
out. I mean, I really hope that they can't stop that. That's
The only thing
just
that
crazy.
The only thing the colleges offer, Nicole, is they say, well, we're giving you a college education. Well, guess what? If I have $100 million, I can buy my own college education.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I am on the side of the athletes. We talked about this. I am on the side of the athletes. I just think it's crazy that Congress filed to take it away. I think that that's just wild and horrible, and I'm just hoping that they don't have a chance in hell. So that's that's just
I'm
what I
with you.
think. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, they
So I
fought
have
way
a
too long.
product alert. We got
Okay.
product alert. I know everybody always loves this. So if you go to californiaborn.com is where you can get it. And I've been using it. I have 3 products that I've been using that are amazing. First of all, I'll start with the shampoo and the conditioner. Okay. Not only let me get this right. One day I'll learn to get this right. Not only is this a great product and cool packaging, but I appreciate the large lettering.
You aren't kidding.
I'm one of those people in the shower without my glasses going, well, which one? What's the hell?
Squinting.
Yeah. Which one's the conditioner and which one's the shampoo?
Or you just put shampoo in your hair twice and you went, damn it.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah, I've
Me
done
too.
that.
Me
I've
too.
done it. And it's frustrating because I look crazy. You won't look so crazy. I look absolutely insane. And then this other product that is amazing. It's called Days of Dirt. Okay, I have such fine hair, and the older I get, it gets a little thinner too. So product really weighs me down, and I've kind of just learned to deal with having flat, thin hair in my like daily life because it is what it is. If I have an event or I go out, whatever, it's something different. But my hair will also tend to get a little frizzy in the humidity or if it gets a little wet, and also it doesn't like it doesn't have that nice PC waves to it. This was a game changer, and I need the smallest dab because again, I can't use a whole lot of product. This the smallest dab, and then all of these products smell like coconut, but not like that perfumey sweet coconut. It's like it smells like you're at the beach. It smells like legit. Um so I can't brag about it enough. They're all consciously created. You can get them on californiaborn.com. And not only is the creator of this, he is one of the biggest celebrity hairstylists in LA or, around, period. He also runs a foundation that is amazing. And I just wanted to bring him on as a guest today because I love everything he does so much. And he's just so great and he's such a good person. So let's bring on Jason Schneidman.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Thanks for the pitch. Wow, that was huge.
It was so good. And the smell
That's
is such a big deal. Like, smell is such a big deal. Like, my daughter, we're like in the store and she's like sniffing everyone. I'm like, oh my God, pick one. They all smell good. Just pick one. Nope. It's like, everybody's very particular about that. So,
Well,
plus.
I made these products with love, and I worked with a chemist locally here in Southern California. And a lot of the chemists who make hair products don't do hair, so they have no clue. So it would get sent back to me, and then I would work with the guy, and I'd be like, less sticky, and he would not make it less sticky. It would still be sticky. So I was like, no sticky. And then I started becoming the chemist and mixing them together. And then I was like, what is wrong with it? And I was like, it's clumpy. How do I explain this to the guy? And I rubbed it on a window and I'm like, make it look like, that Christmas snow, and call me back when you get that right. So I was really hands-on with it. And the scent's important to me because I wanted to smell like that copper tone or Hawaiian tropics type beachy smell. And so we nailed that. And then, I've been doing hair forever, and I would just go through the salon and test it on all the big hairstylists that I worked with. I worked with like the top stylist at Chris McMillan. I've been in Beverly Hills for 20 years and trained under Chris, and he does Jennifer Aniston's hair. And then I started just doing all guys' hair. And so I worked on that for a while, but these products are for everyone. It's quality safe, it's color safe, sulfate free. And the best thing is part of the proceeds goes to help get people off the streets and drugs and alcohol. And I'm kind of taking the lead of Paul Mitchell in a sense, because they help so many people with their foundation, and they're just the biggest philanthropy in the hair industry. So those are my mentors. And, I got sober 19 years ago, and I was taught I have to give it away to keep it, my sobriety. So how all this started was I got sober and I started doing celebrities, and then I was trying to maintain my sobriety. And then I realized I could do both. I could help people and do hair. So I went out on the street and started cutting people's hair. And I'm sure you guys have seen the videos. They've gone viral, and it's been really amazing. But I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Everybody, yes, please go. It's he's at the Men's Groomer I'm giving away your email. The Men's Groomer on Instagram. It is.
Yep.
It will not disappoint. It's such a variety of. He does. First of all, he does the coolest hair. It is the coolest hair always, and his style of doing it is so fun to watch. And then he's done every celebrity. You name a celebrity, he's done them. It's kind of amazing. So he goes on the street and picks somebody and gives them like the haircut of a lifetime, and then talks to them about getting sober. And if they agree, you help them out, right? Isn't that
Literally
like
on the
you
spot.
drive them there? And I mean,
Yeah, and that's
I got chills right now talking about it. It's like,
yeah.
It's not talk. It's not just going out there and saying you should get sober. It's not about just going out there and making them feel good for the day. It's this whole package of just like beautifulness.
Thank you. Yeah, it started off with just a haircut. And then I was like, in sobriety, I find that it's not enough to talk. I have to do. And so it drove me to be like, okay, well, now I'm doing a haircut. Now what else? You know what I mean? And there's no resources for people if they want to get sober. Like there's none. You know what I mean? Our taxpayers' money doesn't fund somebody who wants to get off the streets to get sober. And so there's a burning desire to make that available. And I hope that if I make enough stink, on stuff like this, that we can, as a culture, humanity, a state, a country, we can come together and use our money, our taxpayers' money to provide resources for people. Because I don't think it's a homeless problem. I think it's an addiction problem from what I see. There's definitely a mental illness, but a lot of that stems from the drug using. And even if we can tackle that part of it, we will see great, productivity. I don't know the keyword, but there'll be, to be really good. So the money that I get from my foundation, I keep, putting it on stuff like this. People donate. The part of the proceeds from the products allows me to literally cut somebody's hair and kind of resonate with that person. And I can tell when they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, because I've been there, and I look in their eyes and I'm like, really, are you willing to do whatever it takes? And they're like, dude, I want out. And I'm like, cool, let's go. And then I start calling places, and then I make it happen, and I'll circle back around. I'll also say, you know what, call me tomorrow, and I'll give them money, and I'll see if they spend it on fentanyl or meth, or if they actually call, and I test their willingness too. So I'm not like forcing a square peg into a round hole.
Wow. I just have chills. Like, it's just because it's like you have all these politicians and everybody saying this homeless problem. Everybody just talks about it and talks about it. And they're all like, well, we don't know what to do about it. And you're right. I mean, it's very apparent that it's a drug and addiction issue. I mean, anybody that doesn't see that has blinders on, or they're not paying good enough attention. You know what I mean? And if they could put big dollars into things like what you're doing, if there were more people out there doing this, it's like, the guy walking around with the notepad going, do you want, shelter for the night? It's not cutting it.
No, it's not doing it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I know for a fact that the United States is kind of a unique situation, because we have meth that's being fabricated and we have fentanyl that's being fabricated by humans. It's no longer heroin, and it's no longer cocaine. It's these two drugs that are fabricated that are being pumped into the US. And what's happened is the impurities in the meth, because it's made in Mexico and there's no integrity. I know it sounds funny. Like, would you make some good drugs, please, that have integrity? You know what I mean? But it's like this formula that they make, that they used to make back in the day with meth and speed. They would take the impurity out that make people schizophrenic. So what's happening is they're just pumping it in, and people are talking to themselves. And I've met some foreign people that came over here, and they were like, we've never seen people talking to themselves on the street. And that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. I mean, there's a few people that lose their mind, obviously schizophrenic, and more than a few. But the thing is we have a mass abundance of people walking around that have lost their mind because of meth. And then the fentanyl is just killing people, which is also fabricated, because you can't control that. And it's being put into other drugs. And just the other day, this woman direct messaged me, and she's been direct messaging me for about 2 years about her son that was homeless. Can you go help him? I was like, where is he? She's like, Sacramento. I'm like, it's kind of far. If he was here, I would go find him. She hit me back like a couple months ago. She's like, we found him. They went up there. They asked for direction on how to deal with this. I said, have a place set up to take him. Go get him. They got him, brought him home. He was living in their house. And then she sent me a picture like 3 days ago of her and him smiling. And I was like, that's amazing. And then the next comment was, last night he died because he ordered something online. And I was like, full just crying. Like, I don't even really know him, but I was like, oh my God. And she was like, yeah, we were watching a movie, and then, I thought everything was good. I fell asleep, and then it turns out he got something online, killed him.
Our friend Dave here can relate to that really too well. Do you want to tell him a little bit?
Yeah, Jason, that's exactly what happened to my son. A couple years ago, he asked for a Xanax pill online, and it had fentanyl in it, and it killed him. And everything was going great in his life. And then all of a sudden, and October 30th will be the anniversary of that. But yeah, it's changed our lives forever.
I'm so sorry, bro.
No, and this is something we're hearing every day, though. This is like happening to families and people every day, like way too much. This is, it's horrifying. And I have young kids too. I know, like with yours, I tell them, don't take anything from anybody ever. Come to me.
Yeah.
Like, you want a Xanax? I don't know. Maybe I'll give you one. Maybe I won't. We'll talk. Let's talk it out. You'll stay with me, but like, you can't go. I'm not saying I'm going to give my kids drugs. I don't mean it to sound like that, but kids sometimes need to experiment, and they're going to go against the norm. And, we just had Seth Binzer on here last week, and he was talking about, or the week before, he was talking Yeah, he was talking
I
about
was
that,
watching. Yeah.
some kids know the dangers of it and it entices them even more, right? So it's like you have that, it's a real thing. So it's like you can't just like back in the day, oh, you were at a friend's house, you could take something maybe, and we all got to like kind of experiment whether it went well or bad or whatever, but it was not like it is now. And I think that
That's super
some kid
scary.
orders it online and that they're at a house party and they feel safe, it's their friend that has it and they're in a home where they're very comfortable, or a place, and they're not thinking this through, because none of their intent seems to be to die. You know what I mean? It's like they just have this false sense of security for some reason with it. So it's
Oh
super
yeah, when
important.
we were young, I mean, it's anything. We're fearless for sure, and
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Yeah, but that's like human nature, right? You wanna experiment, you wanna try things. Let me see what this is all about. Unfortunately, that's like, something that we do. But no, you can't do that anymore. You can't do that at all anymore. No. So I love what you're doing. It's just, if you guys, again, it's the Men's Groomer on Instagram, and it is so good. It's so fun to watch. It's such a pick me up, because he records when he goes and does these guys on the street, and it's like the before and the after of the men is like mind-boggling, and then the conversation that they're having is just like so real, because as you can see, Jason's a cool guy. It's not like he's out there like preaching at them. He's talking with them. He can completely relate, and it just comes across so well. And if you guys want to donate or learn more about it, or even get Jason to do your hair, I don't even know if that's a thing. Do you even
Sure.
have spots available? Because he's in Venice, California, but you go on californiaborn.com and you can access it all there. The product, the salon, his nonprofit, and their look good, feel good, do good is their motto. And it's just sort of super touching and just super, we need more of it. We need more of people like you in this world. We really do.
Jason, I'm curious, because what you do is very much like an artist, and so I'm always amazed with an artist how your brain works compared to my brain, on how you see things, whether it's cutting someone's hair or if somebody was painting a picture. My brain doesn't work that way, and I'm always enamored by how you see things. Looking back at your life and where you are right now compared to, let's say, the person you were even 25 years ago, even though it was a struggle and a major struggle to fight your addiction, you came out on the other end a better person. You've made the world a better place. Like, would you have ever guessed 30 years ago you'd be where you are today?
No, I didn't believe in myself 30 years ago. All the people around me did. Everybody's like, dude, you're different. You're gonna do big things. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah. And then what's interesting is, once I got the formula on how to live life on life's terms and be comfortable in my own skin, it's been like forward motion. And I'm an Aries, so I'm like, I have to complete something and then move on. And I'm not that artist that I knew in elementary school who'd start drawing a picture and you're like, what is it? And all of a sudden it just like, oh my God, I see it. That's not who I was. What I am is, I was always into fashion, really young. I traveled the world with my family, and they showed me style, and how there was break dancers, or there was Madonna's dancers. And I would go to Venice, and I would go to New York City, and I would just see styles and bring it back to my little sleepy town, Seal Beach, which is like Long Beach, Huntington Beach, Orange County, LA border. So I'd bring it back to my friends, and I would dress my friends, and I'd be like, we're going out to the 18 under club, and this is going to work. We're going to get laid. Trust me. And we would go out different, and it would work. And then I took it as far as grabbing a clippers and be like, dude, we're going to do like mohawks, or we're going to do Duran Duran hair, and I put egg whites, and I was doing all this stuff young, and it was working. And so I did it so much, the 10,000 hours is when it became easy and became fun. And I feel like a lot of hairstylists fake it for 20 years. We're just selling it to people in our chair. Yeah, it's going to be amazing, but it's nervous, like being in charge of the way people look, you know what I mean? And so I did it so much that it became easy, and then it became fun. And now it's just like, I can't move. as fast as my head moves. I can't move my hands that fast, but I can just sit there, and I was really great at shapes and designing. Early on, I was redecorating people's rooms when I'd come in at like 14. I'm like, you got to put your bed over here, So I'm passionate and I'm driven, and it's not 3 steps back, take a drink, 5 steps backwards. You know what I mean? 3 steps forward, 5 steps back. That's what it was when I was using, and I could never complete anything. And now it's like, dude, the product line, the hair salon, the celebrity, the traveling the world, the family. I got 3 kids. I bought a house. I got a wife. Cars. I design cars now. It's cool. I'm really stoked.
Amazing.
That's another thing he does. Talk about the cars, because he makes these dope cars. And then, explain that.
So COVID
I don't
hit.
understand it all the way, so I want you to explain
No,
it.
so what happened was I was always into cars, and I never could afford it because I had no money, so I'd spend it all on drugs. And then I got sober and I had money, and I bought my first car, and I lowered it and slammed it all the way to the ground, and it was just dude stuff, you know what I mean? And then COVID hit, and the hair salon was shut down through the shutdowns and everything. And I was home with the wife and the kids on Zoom, and the wife screaming at the kids. I'm like, dude, I got to get out of here. So I rented a little car shop next to my buddies who work on cars. And I bought 3 beater cars, and I just was in there just wrenching on them. And I was like, how do I do this? And now I've gotten really good, but I designed the cars. I pick the wheels, I pick the paint, I pick the interiors, I pick the motor, I work on it, I make it great. And if it's not great, I keep working on it. And it's just transformation. It's just like the hair and the people on the street and all that.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Really cool.
They're beautiful. He does a beautiful job with them. He really does. How did you, because Chris McMillan, he worked on a job with a model guy I was dating like years ago. And I met him because my friend tried to dye my hair at home, and it came out like green, like no joke. And Chris came over to my place at night and was like, we got to fix this, and fixed my hair, and then talked me back to going blonde, and then chopped it all off. And he was just so great. And obviously he is who he is now, and you're on par. And it's like, how did you guys meet, and how did all of that happen?
So that's a great story, and I'm going to make it short and sweet. So I was at meetings of recovery, and I was working with somebody who was helping me with my sobriety. And he pointed at Chris McMillan, and he pointed at Carrie White, 2 people that did hair that were celebrity hairstylists. I went up to the woman, and she was like, yeah, that's great. I was like, I want to come work for you. And then I went up to Chris, and he was like, you're kind of cute. I was like, oh, I might have an in here. And so then he's like, get some time, come back and talk to me. I got 6 months of sobriety. I came back, and I didn't pick up a scissor or anything for a year. I did shampoos, and my life was great. I had 13 months of sobriety, working there, being around people that are doing the deal. He's sober, and so, and then he left to go do a movie with Jennifer Aniston, and I was just back to my old ways. I ended up hanging out with the guys on Sunset Boulevard who worked at Giuseppe Franco, and they were all fucking like Mickey Rourke, gnarly partiers. And I was like, I'll show you how it's done. And so I started partying again. Within 3 months, I was cracked out, homeless, 130 pounds. And I was calling Chris's going, I want to come back. And they're like, sorry, got nothing. And then I got a call from the receptionist, said that Chris's assistant sick. He had come back to the salon. We need you at 7:45 in the morning. Can you be here Monday morning? Absolutely. Sunday night, I was smoking meth and crack till 6 in the morning. I took a bus home to get to my house to change, to get ready for work. Got in the shower, was completely cracked out, jaw going, tongue cut up, got a taxi, 2 cigarettes in my ear, pull up to Chris's salon. The manager is tatted down, and Chris, they were both standing in the doorway, and they're both sober. I came walking up, and they were like, oh my God, dude. And I hadn't seen him in a year. They're like, where's the rest of you? Oh my God, when was the last time you ate? They're like, get him a breakfast burrito. And Chris was also a crackhead. And Chris was like, dude, when was the last time you took a hit? Because he like wanted to know, like, when was the last time? And I looked at my watch and I said 7 minutes ago. And he was like, no way, go shampoo Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry was sitting in the waiting room. I was like, my jaw was going. And I was like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't look at me. I'm like, I'm going to shampoo you. And he didn't look at me. And then I got him in the shampoo bowl and I'm like, shampooing him. And I'm like, don't look up. And I take him over to Chris's chair. I put him in Chris's chair and I go outside and I spark up a cigarette. I'm looking at Chris and Matthew Perry through this big window where Chris cuts hair. And it dawned on me that I was going to make $100 from all the people that tipped me that day. And Chris was going to give me $100. And I was like, oh, I'll be high by 6 o'clock. I'll go down to Western and Crenshaw over there or whatever and get my fix. And then that was the burning bush moment when I was like, that's not why I came back here. I came here to get sober, put the cigarette out, walked up to Chris's station right in front of Matthew Perry. And I was like, Chris, I got a proposition for you. I was like, dude, if you take me to that rehab, and he went to the gnarliest rehab. It was called Liberty House. It was a year behavior modification. They strip you of everything, take your car, everything, your cell phone, and you have to do work on yourself. And I was scared to go there, but I was like, this is it. I need to go. I'm going to die. And he's like, hold on. He grabbed the phone at his station. He called the owner, and the owner was like, sorry, we got nothing for you. He's like, dude, this guy's going to die. Like, he needs to get in there. And they said, if you have him here at 5 o'clock, we'll put him on the couch in the garage. And he's like, okay, click. And then he looked at his schedule and he was like, shit, I got Meg Ryan at 5 o'clock. And he's like, hold on, called Meg, canceled Meg or rescheduled her, drove me to rehab. 2/24/04 is my sobriety date. I've been sober ever since. Chris took me there. I lived there for 13 months. I paid off the money to Chris that he put up. He paid for my first month, and been sober ever since. And they let me go work at Chris's in a little bit. And then some people left and opened another salon, Andy LeComp and all these people. And so there was a spot that opened, and he's like, what do you think? And I went in there and just killed it. And I'd been doing men's hair forever. So that's my story.
Wow.
I've never had chills so many times and so much in one one whole conversation. I mean, you really yeah, you are special. What a story. You know, and it's like, it's the honesty of it too. It's like the honesty of it, the bravery of it, the camaraderie of it all. It's so moving.
Well, that's the message right there. It's like, once you admit and accept, that's when the healing process starts. So if anybody's listening to this, like, you gotta throw your hands down. Look, surrender is not giving up. Surrender is coming over to the winning side. So make the surrender, ask for help. You know, you can direct message me. I'll help you, ask somebody, do it. You're worth it. And you can do it.
That's awesome.
I love it. You guys, again, CaliforniaBorn.com. What a guy. And if you want to just even see what he's doing, go to the Men's Groomer on Instagram so you can see some of those videos and see his work, because he is truly amazing in all of the ways. And thank you for coming on and sharing with us and being again, your honesty is what changes people too. It's everybody can preach and everybody can say, oh, come to the better side. But when you're really honest and people can relate to you, that's the game changer, I think.
Thank you so much for having me and helping carry the message.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Wow,
Crazy,
that was big time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had chills almost the whole time. Like, it's just so, yeah. It's just so very real.
It is. I'm sure you've had this question asked to you, like, what would your older self tell your younger self, to kind of give you a heads up on how life works. I mean, here's a guy that had an amazing skill his entire life, and yet, it was drugs that were in the way. The saying, and you hear it all the time, man, that guy's his own worst enemy. We're all our own worst enemy. I mean, we are, right? We always get, we do it all the time. We make bad decisions, or we get in our heads of why we can't do something. But man, to sit there in front of Matthew Perry and say, hey, I can't do it anymore. Like, I need your help right now at this moment is when I need your help. Is amazing.
Laying it all out there. Yeah. That's brave. That's what I mean by the bravery. Like, that's being honest in the moment for sure. Yeah.
No, that was really cool.
And I will I'll also put his products on my Amazon influencer page, you guys. You have no excuse to go buy and support. And my Amazon link is at the top of the website, perfectlytwistedpod.com, and the link is up in the top right at the very, very top. And so you can go on there and get that from there too, because what an amazing product and amazing cause.
Exactly right. Exactly right. All right. So Nicole, I'm going to switch over to what's going on television right now. Okay.
Okay.
Because you and I, we watch a lot of the same shows, and we always talk about Real Housewives shows. I got to ask you about Salt Lake City, because Salt Lake City, for some reason, they say the ratings are through the roof for this show.
Yeah.
And when they first said they're going to Salt Lake City, and they tried it in multiple cities over the years, where like I thought Dallas would be a hit, and Dallas ended up getting canceled. But then they go to Salt Lake City and say, well, this one's not going to last. Well, this one not only has it lasted, but the ratings are crazy right now. Do you find, what is it about Salt Lake City that makes the show that exciting? Is it that much different than the other ones to you that you say, I'm glad this one's back?
I love it. I don't know how to say this without offending an entire state of people.
Have you ever used that sentence in your life? Have you ever said that
uh,
entire sentence in your life?
no, but I'm about to offend a lot of people. I spent a good amount of time shooting a project in Utah
Okay.
and in Salt Lake. And I got to tell you, I just never have come encounter with so many strange characters and so many strange things going on. I swear I was in the Twilight Zone the entire time. I had my daughter with me, and two men were in the restaurant. We're talking like that we would be like wives and trying to talk to us. I was like, what? There was a sports bar in the hotel I was staying at where were open later. So when I got off, you could go, there was TVs, you could go get, a beer if you wanted, and like something to eat. Because, sometimes you need to unwind after work. Women weren't allowed in there. And I still kept going in there, and production came to me. They're like, you really shouldn't be going in there. I was like, then move hotels. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to be refused because I'm a woman in this sports bar. It's crazy. And just down to like some of the characters I met. I swear they went through my stuff in my room when I wasn't there.
Wow.
And the headline story when I arrived was this missing girl who was scheduled to marry, and it was something like an uncle. It was something they like way too close for home that they should be getting married, but she was missing. They couldn't find her. But the headlines were about this. As it progressed, they found her, and she was like hiding in a barn somewhere. Then it cut to, how should she be punished?
Wow.
Like this was like the headlines. And so also like weird things like someone told me that they like to smoke weed or whatever. And I was like, okay, so do I. Sure. And he was like, if I bring it, like, you want to smoke one day, like after work or whatever. And I was like, okay, and brought it. And then we're in my trailer. I go in my bathroom and I come out, and they stepped on it and like squished it.
Wow.
Just yeah.
Wow.
Just stuff I can't explain, stuff I don't know.
Yeah.
Different, very, very different. I mean, I know the church is so influential there, and don't get me started about how I feel about religion, but when it's so strong and so they have to go through those rooms in that church, and at the end they have to wear their garments, like it's so detailed and in depth, and like they're so invested in this religion,
Yeah.
right? It controls every aspect of their life. I think that it becomes a different way. It's just different. I'm sure there's a lot of people living a healthy, wonderful life in it, and appreciate it, and it does well for them. For me, it's just too different.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand. So when you watch the show,
So I knew there were
do
going to
you,
be kooky characters, right?
yeah.
So like
Oh yeah, there
Mary is
are.
a perfect example. Mary is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, where you can't quite put your finger on the strangeness or the awkwardness. It's sort of like, what is this? And she runs a church.
Yeah.
It's just, and then the other gals who grew up that way, but got out of it, or the ones who kind of say they're still with it, but they're not really. They own alcohol companies, all of it, all is that same thing of like what I'm talking about. It's like you don't know what's up and what's down, and you don't know what's real and what's not. So I think that really works for this kind of format of a TV show. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
It's
I mean,
all
it
very
is working.
strange. They're
It
all
is
super
working.
hypocritical. They're all super
Yeah.
hypocritical and strange, but fun, and you're kind of rooting for them. And then there's all this glamour. They all are into this glam in the middle of Utah. It's just and then they have the Sundance aspect of it, because it's a very trendy spot. It's a place to go. I've been. It was so much fun. So then they have that really kind of LA networky, industry vibe. And so it just makes for this like perfect storm. I feel like it's just like this perfect, it's just enough of all the weirdness that it just works. So
And
I
for
love it.
people who
I
don't,
think huh?
yeah,
What?
no, I'm with you. But for people who don't watch the show, there was a character on the show a year ago who literally went to prison right in front of us for like 11 years. And I mean, that was wild to watch. But I thought, okay, once that's over, the ratings might slip. But no, the ratings have been fantastic. It's really, really, really strange. It's again, I'm watching. I love the show too. And Housewives of New York, you think so it's a major city and the number one city in the United States, that would be the best one. This is better than that show,
Yeah.
and okay, so the other thing is, so for someone like you that's been casted in TV shows and movies, I didn't understand Meredith and Lisa. It took me half a year to figure out which one was which. Like, it seems strange that you would cast two people that look so similar. I'm like,
I
all
know.
right, is that Meredith or is that Lisa? Like, I was completely confused. And even now, I think I got to catch myself every week on who I'm looking
Now
at.
I completely can tell them apart, completely. But in the beginning, yeah, I had the same thought. I was like, how did they just do this to us? These
Yes.
two women look exactly the same. How I am so confused on who is who. But once their personality started, like once I because sometimes it takes a while. It takes a while to get to know who these people are. Now I don't think they look alike at all. But yeah, I didn't know which was which in the beginning. So
that is funny.
yeah.
Are you excited about Beverly Hills coming back?
I am. I'm
Me
really
too.
excited. But I got to tell you something funny about it is I saw the commercial on TV and I didn't have my glasses on. But the TV is big. I mean, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't recognize a single one of them. Who are all these people? And then I realized when I got my glasses and I saw the commercial again, I was like, well, there goes Dorit again with a whole new face and whole new hair each season. She looks like an entirely different person each season. And she looks great every season. I'm not saying she doesn't. It just confused the hell out of me. I was like, who is that? Then you've got Erica, who's like on Ozempic and like is a quarter of the size she used to be. I think they're all on it. Well, they're all. Dorit doesn't need to be, but they're all like a quarter of the size that they used to be, and they all look completely different. And so I thought it was a new cast. I thought that there were new cast members. And when I saw it close up with my glasses on, I was like, oh no, that's them. I'm excited to see Denise Richards come back because she's just so different from all of them. And it's she's always like, throwing a wrench in their program. So that's kind of exciting.
And Lisa Rinna's gone this year, right?
Yeah, which I'm not upset about because I felt like, as much as I do like her, and I'm sure in real life she's perfectly wonderful, but she was mean girl. She was getting kind of mean girl there. And I think she was going through a lot. She lost her mother, and anybody that has lost a parent, that it can be so devastating and make you, act a certain way. So she probably needs time to like heal and mourn and all of that because but yeah, she was just acting out a lot, I thought, and it wasn't fun.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's always one of those where, because it was like I was born in LA, you were born in LA. It's the one closest to where we lived, right? So for me, I'm always, people are, how do you watch this stuff? I said, look, if there was a TV show about your neighborhood, you would 100% be watching too,
Yeah,
and then now I find
course.
myself watching, all of them, but I guess I don't have an excuse anymore. I am watching
Orange
that.
County was the first one. So Orange County was
I was watching that.
being from Orange County, right?
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, what? What is this
And I was
show?
like,
So that's what got me.
I've been to Orange County a bunch of times. Of course I'm watching. But now
Yeah.
there's no excuse. I'm watching like Southern Charm. I'm watching all of them. It just my DVR is ridiculous. When anyone comes to the house and they go, "Let me see your remote," like a buddy of mine who wants to see what football game's on, and they hit the wrong button, and then they see my list of
All
everything I've
best.
recorded, they just stare at me. What's wrong with you? I go,
Yeah.
a lot is wrong with me. I don't know what to
A
tell you.
lot is yeah. What was
Yeah.
your first clue? But they have that show, House of Villains. It's really good. It's just started. I'm watching that. Super cheesy, but it's all people we know and love from the past of being villains. Um, um, I'm also watching The Golden Bachelor.
Yes.
Have you seen any of that?
You know what? Okay, now this makes me sound even worse than I did a second ago. I started watching it. Now, look, I haven't watched The Bachelor in years. Like, I just straight out didn't care. If they weren't going to get married in real life at the end, and these guys I always felt were using it to become extremely popular across the country to dump out of the show and then, sleep with as many girls as they can after they do the show because everyone knows
Yeah.
who they are. I was done with that show. The Golden Bachelor, I started watching, and then my wife walked in the room and goes, "What are we watching?" And she sat down for 3 minutes and goes, "Change this. I don't want to watch it." And so she wouldn't watch it, but I wanted to watch it. And so it's one of those where I probably should DVR it, but I haven't done it yet. But I was into the
You
show.
can.
I was
It's only
100% in.
it's only 3 episodes in. It's really very different than the other Bachelors,
Yeah,
and I think it rated the highest of any Bachelor
that's what I
franchise,
heard.
anything, it's getting the highest ratings, but it's something about the way people act differently at this stage in their life. They're all, like, supportive of each other. He's really nice to all of them. You can tell, like, the genuineness of it all is
Yeah,
something we haven't seen before, because I agree with you. It's like, how many girls can I sleep with, in this entire cast? And then how many can I sleep with, in the whole entire Bachelor Nation
exactly.
and out in real life? Yeah, that's a rough one for me. But yeah, I felt like they were all wasting my time. But this one, it's like it's genuine. It's really cute. So I
All right, I'll
like
go
it.
back to it. I'll
Yeah.
I'll definitely go back to it. I'll do it. It's it's funny. One of my closest friends, his sister lives in the house next to the Bachelor house.
Oh
And
God,
so
that's
I
annoying,
was
huh?
like, yeah, I'm like, what is the traffic like then? And then all the lights that come with it
All the
and the
lights,
trucks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it must be a terrible neighbor to have to go.
all the yelling and
This
screaming. Yeah,
yeah,
the
this is
crying.
not fun. This is not good. Yeah, it always makes me laugh that his sister lives right next to that house. All right, let's get to your mailbag. Again, Nicole's mailbag, perfectlytwistedpod.com. You want to ask Nicole a question. So many of you have been fantastic in writing in questions for the show. I enjoy it. There's always something about Nicole that I didn't know about that you were getting the answers to. So we'll start off with Karu. And Karu says, what are 3 things that you have to do every day? 3 is a lot.
Well, I mean, I hate to be super boring, but every day I have to. Is this for fun or things like in my life I have to do, or we don't know?
It's up to you.
I mean, I have to get up early in the morning, which is a bummer sometimes. I have to get up. I have to spend about a half an hour waking up a little tween. Um, I have to make lunch, and I have to get my kid to school. Um, most things are, I have to do emails and work on the podcast and work on networking and, figuring out life. I have to go on walks and get out of all of that and get my head clear. And I have to make dinner. These are
Those are half days.
non-negotiables. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna break it down to the non-negotiables. Like, a day doesn't happen without me doing those things.
Just curious, when you go walking, what do you listen to? I assume you listen to something?
Different.
Okay.
Different. I am so random with that because it just depends on my mood. So, but I can't seem to find, like, see, like, I like my iTunes library because
Yeah.
it's all songs I love. I have a hard time, and I don't have the patience to sit and make playlists on Spotify or iHeart or all of those things. So I just try to find channels that I
Yeah.
like, and and sometimes it's great and it really works, and then sometimes I'm like, every 5 seconds, every time a song comes on, I'm like switching it. But so that's hit or miss. But it depends. It honestly depends on my mood.
Do you use that time at all to, like, when I drive, it's always my catch up time on the phone of someone I haven't talked to in a while. And so when I drive, that's my move. So when you walk, you don't say, I'm just going to call someone to see how they're doing or catch up.
No, I don't
No.
ever call anybody to. I hate the phone. I will text you. I will text you and check up on you, and I will text you and ask if you want to go to dinner or go to coffee or hang out. I'm not for picking up the phone and having a conversation on the phone. They always take too long. And no, and that's my quiet time. That's my time to kind of just zone out and appreciate like nature, appreciate being outside, try to appreciate life, and have all my gratitude. That's what I try to make my walks about.
Good deal. I was thinking when Jason was saying how, there are people who are schizophrenic walking around talking to themselves. When you remember
Everybody with the earpods.
yeah, right. All of us sitting there walking around it. And I always laugh. I said, if it was like a time travel and you put us in the 70s and we have this, look, that guy's insane, because
Yeah.
we do it all the time. We walk around, and whether it's, the AirPods or Bluetooth, whatever you're using, yeah, it looks like you're crazy just talking to yourself.
See, I don't take the calls unless it's business, then I take the calls, but it took me a long time to get used to that people were on the phone through their earpods because it's something I would never do, right? It was something that it took me a long time to get around to doing. Because usually I also like to have the conversations in private. I don't want everybody hearing what I'm saying, but it took me a very long time to get used to people that they weren't talking to themselves. I was always like side-eyeing them. Like, they don't look homeless, but yeah.
All right, next question. This is one of my favorite questions to almost anybody, not just you, but almost anybody is, who is the most well-known person in your phone contacts?
Oh, without a doubt, it would have to be David Hasselhoff. I mean,
that's awesome. There you go.
Who does not on this earth does not know who David Hasselhoff is? So yeah.
Oh, that is funny. That is funny. Mine is, by the way, Shaq. I have a bunch of them, but Shaquille O'Neal's my number one.
Oh, that's a good one.
And so, but I got the number by accident. He was hitting on a girl that used to work for me, and she panicked and gave him my phone number, and he started calling me. So my phone would ring like 2, 3 in the morning all the time, and then my wife would say, "Who the hell's calling you?" And I'd look at the phone. Yeah, I'd look at the phone, and it would just say Shaq. I guess Shaq's calling. She was like, "Sure he is," and I'm like, "No, Shaq's calling right now." But yeah, she panicked and gave him my number, and so I have his number in my phone. So he didn't mean.
Do you ever pick up the phone and talk to him?
No. What am I going to say?
Yeah. So this is you have his number by accident. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now I have a bunch of other guys that are famous too, but not like Shaq. But that's that always makes me laugh that I have Shaq's phone number in the phone. All right, here we go. Question number 3. 3 must-haves you have to have in your refrigerator.
Oh, you would laugh if you saw my refrigerator. It's all different kinds of fruit. It's like these big containers of fruit. Me and my daughter just eat a ton. So you've got the things of melons, you got the things of pineapples, you got the strawberries and the blueberries.
Love it.
Yeah. So fruit for sure. It's packed in there.
What's your favorite? Just curious because you said melons. What's your favorite melon?
Both we have watermelon, green and orange. We have it all. And pineapple. Oh, and pineapple. Like we have all the containers and grapes. Today I did a Japanese cucumber salad for her this morning. So cucumber's a big one too. That's usually always in the refrigerator.
Sounds good.
And she had watermelon and grapes today. Yesterday it was like pineapple and all the melons. And yeah, so it's like I try to not make it boring and we switch it up. So those are must-haves. And then like a coconut milk or an almond milk or something for my coffee. It has to be there. Otherwise, you got a really grumpy Nicole in the morning. And then I would say hot sauce, like some kind of hot sauce or chili sauce, or I've got a ton of them in there, but hot sauce.
There you go. The reason I asked you about the melon, I'm a big fruit person also, but the reason I asked you about the melons is I love cantaloupe. Honeydew, it should be honey don't, because it's hit and miss. Like there's nothing worse than getting something. If it's good, but otherwise, like 50% of them have no flavor, and I'm like, what the hell? Like I get all excited, and then I'm like, I can't taste it.
It's not quite ripe yet. It's still like it's an unripe one. Yeah. Well, fruit is fruit's weird like that, right? Like you can't bite into an unripe peach. It's gross. But a perfectly ripe peach, you're in heaven. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's like our bananas. We can't have a yellow banana in the house. The kid gets like, they're garbage. I'm like, I know, but they just turned yellow. Nope, they got to be green. It got to be green. It's a whole
I'm with your
different fruit,
daughter.
Mom. That's a whole different fruit.
I'm
Okay.
with her. I'm with her on
Yeah,
that.
me too.
What is your ask when filming on location?
Um, ooh, usually I tend to, especially if my kids are traveling with me, I need to stay like in a home environment, not a hotel, unless
Yeah.
the hotel like has a kitchen, because they need to have like, can you imagine? And when I was younger, I used to do this. Can you imagine ordering room service for every meal? Like you would owe
No.
more money than what you made. Um, so I always, and just because I want them to have healthy snacks on hand and stuff like that. So I guess it's like where I stay. It needs to be homey with a kitchen and,
Yep.
refrigerator and oven and all that kind of deal.
That's interesting. For some reason, I always thought they would just cover the food, but I guess not.
No,
Right? I mean, I had no idea. That's
no, they don't
interesting.
cover the incidentals on your but you do get like per diem, so you do get cash every day. So if you want to go out and eat and everything, but if I'm traveling or if I'm on set and I'm working all day, they're with a nanny, it's just better if they can have at least a couple meals at home, in
Yeah,
quotes, and then maybe we can go eat when I get out or something like that. But you know, kids like to snack and graze all day. You got to
exactly
have it
right.
set up.
Exactly right. All right, last question. This one's from Nancy. The holiday season will be here before we know it. What's your favorite holiday?
Well, ironically, I think Halloween. I think Halloween is what I get the most excited about.
So
And
does my sister.
so do my kids. Yeah, we all are just Halloween junkies. My house has been decorated for like I think since October 1st. And
Yeah.
I had it all ready to go at the end of November. And I was like, do I? Do I not? Do I not? And then like we were driving down the street and our neighbors had all their whole outside decorated everything, and it was still November. And Keegan goes, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them.
Do you remember
So
as being a kid what you dressed up as for Halloween? Like what stands out to you that you go, what's your memory?
um I had a lot of them, but as a kid, I was Miss Piggy one year.
No way.
And it's still when you only could get those hard plastic masks.
Yeah.
So it was like a hard plastic mask with the rubber band that went
Rubber band
around it,
behind your
and like
head.
it had some fake hair. But my mom made me a purple like little gown, and I mean it must have taken my mom the whole year to do it because she wasn't very domestic, and but she pulled it off somehow, and she made this like. She might have snuck over to my aunt's, who was a seamstress. Now that I think about it, this is a possibility. She could have snuck off to my aunt who lived nearby and got some help. But and no, I loved it. I thought it was so because I loved Miss Piggy. I loved the Muppets. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's funny. Remember you take that mask off, your face would be all sweaty. And you're
God,
like,
I used to do it.
and that rubber
Or
band always made your head itch. I hated that, but I remember the whole thing. I think it was
and the
Darth
mouth
Vader
was
with
like
that guy
rubbing
mask.
raw. Yeah,
Yeah,
like, you couldn't breathe,
it's true.
slobbering.
By
What
the
was your favorite?
the one that I always remember was I was Gene Simmons. I had to put the makeup on myself, like did the white face and and it didn't look anything like Gene Simmons. It looked like if Gene Simmons had someone with palsy put his makeup on. It looked nothing. It wasn't sharp at all. But I thought I looked cool, and I tried it again the next year, and I think it was worse than the year before. But I wanted to look like Gene Simmons, and that's the one I always remember going, how bad I probably messed that costume up. But that was it as a kid, was trying to be, someone from Kiss.
Someone from
That
Kiss.
was
I
my
love that. That's a good one, though. That's a really
yeah.
good one. I know my kids always have better ideas. Like my oldest daughter was David Bowie, and she did the big star. She
Oh,
looked
that's cool.
great. I think I do better with my kids' costumes, and they're more creative. Me, I always as I got older, I always wanted to be something dead. I always like pull out the bride dress and like pour blood all over myself and do dead makeup. I always like the dead thing. You could be a cheerleader, but it needed to be a dead one. I one time one time, me and my daughter's father, we really offended some people one year, and we were a nun and a priest,
Okay.
and he had slit my throat, so like I had
Oh
I was
boy.
a nun with a slit throat, and he was like had a bloody knife.
Oh boy.
you know, I like to do things that are, you know, the opposite. So like, I always want them to be dead. I don't know, but my kids don't. They're not so into the gore like I am.
Oh my gosh. That's the one thing when I lived in LA and I lived in Nashville, Tennessee growing up. And when I lived in Nashville, my neighbor was Crystal Gale, the country
Oh
singer.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And she always gave us these giant candy bars, two of them. And like the kind that you look at and go, wait, they actually make candy bars that big? You look at your parents like, are we buying this? And I was always, no, we're not buying that. But she always gave every kid two of those giant candy bars.
Like the family
And so,
size.
yeah. And because the properties were so big, we all lived on like 6 acres. It was trick-or-treating, took forever. But it was worth it going to her house. It was like, don't go next door because the lady's going to give you a goddamn apple. But if you could make it to Crystal Gale's house, she was going to give you 2 of those giant candy bars. And so she always took care of you. That was cool. That was pretty cool. She was
a
like
lot.
enough for the whole block. Yeah. Yeah.
You know who
Yeah.
was big here in Toluca Lake was Rick Dees always gave out big candy bars. He was known in Toluca Lake for
Really?
the big candy bars. Yeah, I remember
Oh, that's
that.
cool.
So yeah.
That is too funny.
Yeah.
That's too funny. All right, that's it. That's all 5 questions right there.
Woo!
Knocked 'em out.
Thanks for the questions, guys. It's fun. It makes me think because it's things I don't normally think about.
There you go. So
Okay,
again,
well, we will
Nicole's
see you guys.
mailbag, though, it's on Perfectly Twisted Pod. So again, please write in right there to the mailbag and we'll try and get your question on there.
Yes, and I love them. Keep them coming. And thanks, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to us, leave us a comment, rate us. We love you. See you next week.